Hello everybody and welcome back to Suzerain in Saturday Strategies. Hopefully you're all enjoying. I'm sorry if like the random video from yesterday was all over the place. I was actually kind of busy and like I had seen it and I was like I wanted to play a game from my past because I hadn't played that game in years. But I know probably a lot of people didn't like it and I wasn't super good at it, so it just was I don't think I've aged well enough or I need to increase like the sensitivity on the joysticks. But hopefully all enjoyed. Let us get into this craziness of me leading the country probably onto ruin. We have some government budgets at 4. I have no personal wealth because I paid for my driver's kids college. I, for whatever reason, growth is that green? Like that's a very like yellowish green on the downward slope, but it's not as bad. The highway construction is almost about halfway through, so let us hop right in. What is going on over here? Young swords suspected of a terror attack. I read that. I remember reading that. More reforms. Yep, already read that. What's going on in the news? Protests appear calmer. That's good. Education privatization proven successful. I still don't know how I feel about private. Soul needs to answer. Yep. All right, so I already did all that. What is over here? Let's see, I arrived at the meeting room for my talk with Ciara and Pascal. Before beginning, I took a moment to appreciate the view from the balcony. The mountains of Narbel were completely covered with snow. While I was memorized by the scenery, Pascal Benwol walked up to me. My Minister of Health was, ironically, somewhat portly, having gained a few pounds since his breakthrough as a best-selling writer, but his authority on social affairs could not be questioned. Such a spectacular view. Sierra Walda, the Minister of Education, joined us on the balcony dressed in a sky blue pantsuit. Her preference for trousers over dresses had made her the subject of much palace gossip, but it didn't seem to bother her in the slightest. Spectacular indeed, but if you look at in the opposite direction, you'll see that's what Seoul's decades of neglect did in the city. Most of the pity? Most of the people living in Narville are workers, farmers, and their wives and children. They're breaking their backs for close to no pay, all thanks to greedy corporations. Let's see. My intention is to help the working class. I'm glad we see eye to eye on that issue. If you look past the view, you can see the real problems like poverty. Pascal nodded gravely. This was subjecting quite a bit about himself. His best-known books were about the plight of Swordland's less fortunate, drawing from his own past growing up in squalor. Well put, Miss Walda. I don't need to tell you about my own experiences with poverty, and you've been through similar hardship yourself, Mr. President. Well, it feels like the cards are all stacked against you. Exactly. It feels as if there's no way out. You don't have to have been born poor to sympathize with the plight of the impoverished, much as you don't have to have been born a woman to recognize Sorlin's need for parity among the sexes. Parity among the sexes shouldn't be our first priority. Look at the many high-ranking film appearances can be. Her voice sounded bitter. Think about Leah's graph got her. I don't necessarily believe the rumor about her and Soul, but she never could have risen so high if she didn't parrot his cause. Laura Torrey is an accident that the first female assembly speaker is such a staunch conservative. And then there was Alfonso's habit of promoting women to prominent positions to give Sorlins a progressive sheen while accomplishing nothing in reality. While women in places like Norwell are denied any opportunity to advance, the government can use a handful of female politicians from wealthy families, myself included, to pretend their only obstacle to success is their own lack of initiative. Meanwhile, those of us who don't use our clout to help powerful men stay in power are denigrated as angry ministers. I ask you, Mr. President, does anyone care that your strategist doesn't have a wife? Yeah. They deserve better. I'm glad. As a time when Hulson addressed this country, rather than bowing to the wishes of the Hawks and Shira in diverting yet more resources to the military, our welfare, healthcare, and education system has been decaying since the reception. Poor communities are losing hope. Hopelessness and lack of opportunities can drive people to extreme solutions. We're seeing increased crime, domestic violence, and yes, rising inequality between men and women. Oh boy. Okay. Let's Leah Scraff will take care of crime. She's an expert on those issues. If only we could stop the recession, create jobs and growth. That does play a huge role in our urban we can't fix it, but we have to educate the people, let them create. There's another. I have been working to improve the rights of workers in our country and have proposed a draft that is currently being reviewed by our party. Mr. Cavan have already backed me and given his support. Sorland has fallen behind most countries on this subject, and it's my responsibility to ensure that this is not the case. There's always room for improvement. I will not let you down. It's also a matter of every decade we hear of some horrific accident due to employers disregard for their workers' safety. So will you back the bill when it arrives, Mr. President? Honestly, I should take this one, but I'd be very interested in supporting it. It's getting a little cold. Shall we continue our discussion? We headed back inside. The meeting room was already prepared for state business. Small gifts for each of us had been placed on the table by the municipality. We took our seats. About your health overview. As you wish. Sorland has free healthcare system except for a few private hospitals. Most of the populace received adequate healthcare is issued primarily up here in rural areas due to lack of quality. I'm doing my best to ensure the citizens of all ages receive the best healthcare they can. I also personally want to solve our high infant and maternal mortality problem. What's the life expectancy? 65, and oh wow. Infant mortality is 121 per 1,000, while our maternal mortality is 5 per 1,000. Ugh. I assure that we're doing everything we can to save the mother, and those numbers are saddening. I agree. We must do everything. We are working very hard. Quality of services. How many doctors and nurses? We have 31,000. Wow, that's a lot. And 73K for the minute. What I think is, I don't want to be rude, but out of those numbers, how many are urban and how many are rurals? Technically, I should say let's not. Let's see. The data shows that per 10,000 people in urban areas, there are about 11 doctors, while in rural areas, there's only 3. In other words, rural citizens with medical emergencies have to be waited an embarrassingly long time before they are treated. How many hospital beds? There are 10 beds per 10,000. Compared to most of that is a pretty good number. Our amount of beds is higher than the countries of England. Well, but obviously we can't match Lesbia or Valistrad. Should hardly be used, but it is good to know that we aren't in a massive health crisis yet. Thank you. I want to hear about the education. With pleasure. Swordfish education is free, but we have a very outdated system that I want. The other important issue is the lack of access in rural areas, especially for young girls. Okay. My highest priority is to get enough funding to be able to build schools while I cleanse our educational system as a nationalistic indoctrination and sexist teachings. What is the literacy rate? That's interesting. 80%. That's not bad. The most illiterate areas are Bergen and England. That is correct, although skews the statistics, which is also a vast number, underlines my point about the how many students and teachers do we have? Currently, there are about 5 million students, 3 million in primary, 1 million in secondary, 1 million in tertiary. I don't even know how you pronounce that. Territory. There are about almost 155, a little over 155,000 teachers, so full of young and bright minds. We should keep striving to make education available for all. I think we need is what's being taught. We should help children to ask questions and educate them. Tell me the difference between rural and urban. I'm interested. Urban areas have 3 times the number of schools per 10,000 people compared to rural. Rural areas also suffer from a lack of teachers. I can imagine not preferring. Salaries for teachers are very low here. We need to increase their pay to give them more incentives. Thank you, Clara. I can fill in the blanks from here. I believe that is everything. Stood up and moved towards. She took a deep breath. What is it? Look at this impoverished city. The streets full of potholes, the hospital barely functioning, the school half open. This is not just about Seoul or even Alfonso failing. This is a decay in Swordland's forgotten regions that has been going on for many decades due to structural sorry, I forgot how to breathe. Structural corruptions, which is fueled by capitalism. What do you think? There's not much to be said. I agree with, but it is also Gus manager's job to improve this area. It is responsible for each responsibility in every one of us. She sat back down and sighed. One way or another, we need to change. Greed and unchecked capitalism will not magically provide for the people. Uh, what are your plans? Require an increase in government budget. I aim to solve the problems we highlighted with the allocated money. More schools in less fortunate areas. Wow, I cannot read. Will unlock the potential of boys and girls alike. Improving the area rule is investment in the future. Imagine unlocking the full untapped of our youth, the knowledge and wealth they would generate. Wouldn't the promotion of private help create additional funds? Yes, but at what cost? I'm not a supporter of private sector in the education. At the end of the day, they are focused on profit first. What about you, Pascal? I personally want to improve the low quality of healthcare and rule, so I created draft plans to increase the salary of doctors to upgrade the equipment at the hospitals. I could do more with increased budget. Additionally, a privatization plan to promote private investments that help could allocate extra funds. Improving the quality in less fortunate, it should be our highest. Exactly, it would directly diminish our depressingly high. Besides, such a push would also have. I do hope to create competition and increase the quality of healthcare with privatization effort. But you must realize that privatizing our healthcare system will increase the prices of treatment and make access worse for the average citizen. The decision not to promote more state control would cost the Swordish people dearly. My expectation from our government is that we need to understand and focus on the needs of the people. We are elected representatives of our people, and we will prioritize their needs. That's reassuring to hear. I don't want to sound cynical, but almost all governments keep making the same promise. We must show we're different through our actions. Did we cover all the necessary subjects? One more thing. I wish to raise my concerns about your scheduled meeting with the Gansum chairman and former president, Mr. Al. Negotiating with in his company, you have an opportunity to secure better labor. This could be a triumph for all of Narble. What is there to negotiate? The standards for gas and work are already can and must. Nevertheless, it's worth acknowledging that the corporate contributes to the job creation of Narble and other property. Persuading the chairman to make concessions might prove to be a formidable task. Bringing this up, if we do this right. If we do this right, we can find a solution. That would be quite you'd make headlines for it. This matter is close to my heart. I would personally be grateful if you were able to resolve the concerns raised by Katrina Horton and her fellow labor reps. I would be given benefits to the workers without them personally gaining from it. Let's see. Considering our need for greater, and we might find ourselves forced in this world. Nothing relies on us. Just as we rely on them, we can find a path to compromise. The middle way often sways perilously close to the status quo. We must ensure that any negotiations generally benefit the people and not just uphold the interests of corporate giants. Thank you for your input, but I will stress how important it is the door to dialogue remain open, and that ideology should never get in the way of bringing about tangible, lasting change. Let's see. I can't promise anything. I've got to get a grasp. Let's see. I gotta get a grasp. We shall keep you no longer. Thank you both for discussions. I do hope we won't repeat the same mistakes again and again. Have a good day. The ministers left and I'm prepared to leave for other official business. The Gansa meeting was just one of the many events I have scheduled to attend over the next. As I made my way out, the weather was noticeably cold, but it didn't keep a group of USP supporters from coming out to cheer us on the street. By looking at this, it was easy to understand the current state of Narbel. Some kids were wearing clothes a few sizes too large. Some kids did not even have shoes. Yet there were hope in their eyes. They were excited to see the president in their city. God damn. Wow. Okay. I'm pretty sure that there's so much like I wish I had more money. But I mean, I feel like that's every like leadership position. I wish I had more money. Discuss Helgeland at Halem Summit. Leaders of the CSP, the Sunhouse Testament. Yep. Conclude a note to resolve. Good. Labor strike. Labor strike. Wages working. The strikes have resulted in temporary disruption. Duration of the strike. Potential impact. Negotiate. Good. More people are striking. Yep. Oh, that's not good. The high school teacher, man. Oh, good lord. Repeal. All right, good. Was put to vote, resulting despite strong advocacy from the repeal. Wow, almost by over 100. Remains for maintain the status quo. So it concludes. Yep. Leader of the NFP has announced today that the N is completely against any threshold reform. He specifically leads to unwanted entering the assembly, and he is outright against any changes. Workers' rights bill nears completion. I like that. Emergency response teams were dispatched immediately due to the sheer size of initial investigation. Current death toll is 82. Ew. Military base. As part of an agreement. Alright, so we read all of that. What is this? The EPA stands? Good, good, good. Alright. Narble. Oh boy, alright, here we go. After a series of intense meetings with Sierra and Pascal, I decided to take some much needed rest to recharge. Sorry, taking a drink. Lucy and Peter were laboring tirelessly in the capital, united democratically leaning reformers for the crucial task of drafting a new constitution. Meanwhile, Gus had invited me to visit the GASM headquarters. It is situated in Ornbell, a neighborhood on the city outskirts. Next to it was the gas reserve, a prominent natural gas source consisting of 4 large fields. As our motorcade made its way down, I noted the neighborhood's state of disrepair. The roads were bumpy and marked by potholes, while the buildings surrounding us appeared run down and dilapidated. Wow. The community had apparently endured a prolonged period of neglect. We came to a halt at the entrance of the gate to the facility. A sizable mural depicting the GASM logo had been painted on the nearby wall. Adjacent to the mural, a group of individuals wearing blue work vests had assembled, holding up what looked like protest signs. Serge skillfully parked the car, bringing our journey to a smooth and elegant conclusion. Gus greeted us warmly as we stepped out of the vehicle. Good day, President. Welcome to GASM's normal operations. I trust Ministers Walda and Benwold didn't overwhelm you with their demands. It's a relief to have a break from all that, even if just for, I would be surprised if there was, good to see you, Gus. I wanted to talk to you about what we can do to help development. Perfect, that's exactly what I hope to accomplish during today's discussion. My job is to improve the conditions of places like these. Mr. President, I've been brainstorming a little something. The Grooney Rural Investment Plan. I reckon it's got the potential to breathe new life into our rural communities out in Grooney. We could consider a few things. We could give the farming business a boost with some subsidiaries, or we could steer towards modernizing existing farms with machinery and tech. Or here's another thought: we could pour resources into developing crop breeds tailor-made for Grooney conditions. If it works out, we could roll this across Swordland. He kept talking as he guided me into the GASM building. Mr. President, I get the appeal that the green bill that has been making the rounds of the assembly, but I'm telling you, if you put the brakes on that and funnel those funds into the Grooney plan, instead we can make some real strides without spooking any potential investors. I'm intrigued. It's a tough call, guys. I need to weigh the environmental implications and the economic benefits. That's all I'm asking. Just give the plan a fair shake. Our talk was interrupted by the notice. We looked out the nearest window. A sleek helicopter was cutting through the sky, sunlight glinting off its polished surface as it descended towards us. On it was our next appointment, Edward Alfonso. He sure knows how to make an entrance. The man loves his theatrics. Before we met him, I wanted to bring up one more piece of assembly business. This workers' rights bill. Look, I'm all for giving hardworking folks what they deserve, but isn't it a bit hasty to push this while we're still stuck in a recession? The way I see it, short-term wins might end up costing us big time in the long run. Let's see. I get what you're saying, but isn't it high time we put people before profits? I see where you're coming from, but a prosperous economy helps everyone, the workers included. If we're all sinking, nobody's winning. Please come this way. Sorry. Edward and I have some exciting news to share with you. I have faith that you won't leave us hanging. I haven't seen him since they This we're lively during the highway contract award. I'm willing to hear a new offer. Let's manage to get Riza entangled. This is surprising. I hate to brag, but I was the only one who opened the gates, and the Porta does after nearly 32 years of frozen Sordis Riza relations. Riza and Sorland were considering a full embargo until Alfonso and I came along. We made history with 1950 and 1953 deals. You might remember that the latter agreement prevented a depression just 8 months before the elections. Let's see. Pat yourself on the back. You did well and more. It's 100% with me. I have some new ideas I'm discussing with. We'll brief you on those later. He pushed open the door, walked it seemingly in the direction he would come from. Like a maze, isn't it? That's Quinali architecture for you? The hallways were lined with doors. Glass panels in them revealed workers in suits and ties, many of foreign origin, busy in their pristine offices. A stark contrast to the blue-collar workers outside working with machinery, transportation, and maintenance. Let's see. The whole complex feels very hands on deck. I can tell an intricate operation when I see one. It took decades for Ed and the workers, of course, to create an enterprise of such global competitive potential. Ah, here's the elevator. Edward ought to be up there already. There's separate entrance by the hell. Just remember, Alfonso's our friend. We got the for the great deal. The doors opened. Here we are. Old my friend stood up from his chair. He had a perfectly tailored suit that he wore as casually as his pajamas. Gus, you old devil. It takes one to know one. As promised, I brought our guest of honor, President Rain. I hope you enjoyed seeing our facilities here. It's nice to see what you have built from the inside. Yes. It's fine, nothing compared to a whole story, of course. Still one of our standouts of the Maroon District. Please have a seat, let's talk. We sat down, some snacks and drinks were served. Multiple cans, some nearly financial reports were attached, just scattered on the table between us. It's been a while, Mr. Rain. Let me catch you up on my activities since I left office. I ventured to Xena, immersing myself in its vibrant culture, then traversed the captivating landscapes of the Anarchan Peninsula, and finally reunited with old acquaintances in Kno. Along the way, I had the privilege of encountering remarkable individuals who have made significant to their respect. My experiences prompted deep reflection on the essence of life. I came out of it all with the two words resonating in my head: reputation and legacy. These two pillars embody the lasting impact we leave behind and the way we are remembered by others. With a cup of coffee in hand, he strolled over to the window, his gaze drawn to the expansive gas fields stretching before him. Towering mountains provided a majestic backdrop. Let's see. Don't we all earn to be remembered and make a focus of rooted in the don't we all earn to be remembered and make a meaningful contribution? He gazed out, then he turned his back to us. I've been thinking about my own legacy and reputation. I refuse to be remembered as a failed reformer. I put so many years of my life into this corporation, and then I left it all behind and devoted myself to serving the people of Swordland. And serve you did. Swordland would be much worse off without you. I cannot help but empathize with individuals who invest their utmost dedication and passion to their work. That is much appreciated. I am well aware of the challenges you yourself have faced. I commend you for navigating those without causing harm to others. I'm concerned about the future of what I have built up. The latest figures show that Ganson will have to either decrease staff or operations by 40% in 1 year or take on a crushing amount of debt. This is why we have decided to reach out to foreign investors. That one. I have concerns about relying too heavily on foreign investors. It's important to prioritize local ownership and maintain sovereignty over our national resources. I understand your concerns, but the future of Ganson is on the line. Rest assured, we will take measures to protect our interests and ensure responsible engagement. I appreciate you coming through, Gus. Getting Riza interested in another investment is a major feat. We've got an amazing opportunity here. The demand for gas is steadily increasing from both international partners and the sort of state. All we have to do is ensure the consistent supply. The trouble is, right now, some of our fields are operating at only half their capacity due to resource limitations, but we have a significant potential for expansion, including 2 new fields that haven't even been tapped. With the right amount of investment, we can expand resources, resource extraction, effectively fulfill rising demand and ensure long-term stability and profitability. There are the interests from Riza, but the investment could also come from Swordland itself. You do know can't invest more than 20% unless the government permits. Would also make, if your analysis is correct, any investment would also make returns and secure further gas. That one. Indeed, the deal has the potential to bolster both Gansum and Soylent. Together we can create a historic opportunity. Why settle for being the top 10 energy exporters when it's complete with Arcadia, United, Cortana? Mr. Alfonso has neglected to mention this is not either or. Soylent can invest alongside. Let's see, investing together with could be better than just letting them purchase as much as they can. Co-investing would reduce contribution while allowing the nation to still have a stake in this. If the treasury situated, this path could be the most optimal. The sound of sirens briefly through the window. We saw police cars driving down the street adjacent to the Gansum zone. We directed our attention to the meeting. Edward looked at me. Mr. President, I believe we have a potential for a mutually beneficial partnership. We need to align our objective and expectations. You know, if we can get the government in on this, it's a win-win. Not only does GASM continue to operate and grow, but it also strengthens the state's energy security and economic. We just need a little risk appetite. That's all. Are you ready to take on the risk that come with ensuring what most valuable energy companies continue? Are you ready to make your government stronger? Don't you think there's a way we can, without kind of provide this will pay off? I'm all for taking calculated risks, but we need to ensure that the benefits outweigh the potential losses. Of course, I wouldn't propose a strategy that I didn't believe would be beneficial for both of us. As someone who's been in the energy business for decades, I could tell you this deal is solid. Mr. President, have you ever considered that the future of Soylent might rest not on avoiding risk, but about embracing them? That our greatest potential might lie in not the safety of what we know, but in the certainty of what we might discover? We must make it based on what, how the stakes are too high for us to gamble on uncertainty. I have, and I believe that I'm embracing. Oh man. On the one hand, I see what they're saying, but also we don't really have the budget for this because I also want to help health and, you know, health and education, and I feel like I'll be eating up way too much of my budget with this one because I only have 4. I'm assuming that each of them are 2, if not more. I understand your point. However, choose it would gain a voice in the broader company. Even as a minority, the government could either liquidate its shares at the future date or continue to reap long-term profit. A beneficial walked over. He stood there silhouetted against the vast expanse. After a moment, he turned back. His gaze was steady. The time has come to make a decision. Well, let's see. How much will it cost? All right. I don't want to lose 2. I think we'll co-invest right now. A wise choice. Yes, I like that. Sharing the cost with reduce our risks and strengthen it's a smart move. Before we dive in, allocate some time to discuss any concern regarding. Yes, along with has realized. Let's see, either 1 or 2. We need to address these concerns. They could jeopardize, and our duty is to listen. That is the mandate granted to us. While sometimes people may not want to what's in their best. Do you have a proposal? Let's see. 1, 2, or 3. Workers need better housing. Wages. Oh man. Do I want more support for everyone or more money? More money would mean that they would be able to spend more in the economy, but I feel like the overall well-being of them would be better too. Because housing would be great, healthcare, and opportunities for education versus money. Oh, I want to do this one because then if I can increase their wage, they increase the their welfare. I will personally ensure that the review of their salary work towards promises are a start, but the people need actions. Your personal commitment in this could be a turning point for Gayslam and for almost we committed to. Suddenly the meeting was a quiet murmur of the conversation group, followed by a sound of hurry foot. A member of the privates his fought. He approached and leaned into Edward's Don Salome, his gated meeting mind with a serious gentleman. It seems we have an unexpected situation outside. Some protesters have blocked the main vehicle exits. Seems to be leading the group. It would be well, what's your move? I have a helicopter. I think we should face the crowd head on. That is your following the violence event I have recommended. I advise you to leave via just in case. I can stay back and update the Mr. President. I've discussed what they are advising us not to get in the way we came. More police are on the way. You must make a decision. Everyone waited in the tense room. Oh my god. Too much stress. Okay. I'm gonna do something crazy. Let's read the reports. Blue Street in front under new leaderships. Gather until reading blah blah blah. Have occurred. Suspected. They have elected a new leader. Let's look at national security. Have been known. Situation calls. Yep. Oh, that's it. All right. What are the news here? Word of cause. No, the Marcos. Yeah, that's why I only did one because I don't know. That's a. I feel like one is fine. Because the way that I'm thinking about it, if I invested the 2 and leave it there, we wouldn't have a budget for anything else, and we need more of a budget just in case. Because I mean, we still have health and freaking education to go through and all that stuff. And I feel like if we share the burden with our neighbor, that means that we can at least be on a a relatively talking presence. But I'm going to leave that the decision up for next time. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care. Bye bye.